My name's Stephen USSR Robinson, and thank you for watching Sporting Icons.
So across a couple of interviews that Tyson Fury done yesterday with IFL and Behind the Gloves and what have you, he mentioned Deontay Wilder, that maybe if the Anthony Joshua fight doesn't come off, he could end up fighting Deontay Wilder. And when he was asked, well, what kind of other options are there out there that you would look at? He says, well, there's quite a few fighters, but for me, the biggest fights are Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Now, it's a contradiction for sure. When he said a little while ago, I don't care what happens, I ain't fighting Deontay Wilder ever again. In other words, he ain't going to give him a payday because of the slanderous things that Wilder was saying. But now, I mean, it is in typical Tyson Fury fashion, he has a change of heart where he says, well, you know what, Wilder says whatever he said. You know what, I've said some pretty stupid things in my time. Which he has. But it just seems that, to me, I don't think he's really looking at it to say he's going to fight Wilder. I spoke to Bob Arum a few weeks ago. He said that categorically, Wilder has no leg to stand on. And since then, he said that that case is done. I know people want to get and talk about arbitration and all these kind of things. Listen, I've never heard of the damn word arbitration before this case. Never heard of it. Okay, so I'm not an expert on it. I don't exactly know what it entails. But if Bob Arum, a former lawyer, is telling us that Wilder has no leg to stand on and the case is finished, then I have to believe him. Don't get me wrong, he's a promoter, okay? Promoters, pretty much their motto is, I'm telling the truth today. Yeah, yesterday I was lying a little bit. But today I'm telling the truth. I get that. But do you really believe that when you look at the landscape of that particular situation, do you really believe that Bob Arum, a former lawyer who will know American law like the back of his own hand, added to Tyson Fury's legal team, MTK and Frank Warren, who is no stranger around the courtroom, right? Do you really think that they would allow Tyson Fury to walk away from a third fight if there was even a smidgen of a chance that he could get in trouble for it? Do you really think that they would allow that to happen? No, of course not. Likewise, do you really think that ESPN and Top Rank Bob Arum, who signed up Tyson Fury for a 5-fight deal, they've had 3 of those fights, Tom Schwartz, Otto Wallin and the Deontay Wilder rematch. So they've got 2 fights left. And they have to be completed this year. Again, Tyson Fury says these 2 fights have to happen this year. Do you really think that Top Rank and ESPN, Bob Arum, want Fury to go fight Deontay Wilder in a fight that people couldn't care less about, as in I'm talking the majority of boxing fans now, because of the absolute demolition job that Fury done on Deontay Wilder? We know who the better man is, and then the excuses afterward from Wilder and of course his rotten fan base have just dropped his stock significantly. People not interested in watching that fight again. Not for a third time, just not interested. So it ain't going to do too well at the box office. It ain't going to do too well on the tickets. Especially now Tyson Fury says that he'll never ever fight in the United Kingdom again. Las Vegas is his home. But as we know, those who fill up the arenas and that for Tyson are travelling Brits. A lot of Brits are going to be looking at that comment thinking, you know what, screw you. You're turning your back on us. Why am I going to spend my money? That's how a lot of people are going to be feeling. Don't get me wrong, a lot of Brits, of course, will still travel. We love to travel and support our own. But the point is, if you've got 2 fights left on your deal, do you really think Top Rank, ESPN and Bob Arum are not going to want that Anthony Joshua fight or both of those Anthony Joshua fights? They are the biggest money fights they could possibly get. $100 million is what Tyson Fury's deal is for 5 fights. That's what we're led to believe, right? Do you think that him fighting Tom Schwartz, Otto Wallin and Deontay Wilder rematch, that they've made their money back even close to it? Hell no. Hell to the no. Not even close to it. Not even close to it. These 2 Joshua fights will pay that back and then some. Now, we could look at it and say, well, maybe Fury, he's looking to just fight anyone for now to wind down the clock for his contract. Get 2 fights over and done with ASAP, because when he does fight Joshua in the rematch, he's a free agent. He's the one who negotiates how much he gets paid. He's the one that will get more money because he hasn't got to pay another promoter. Because let's be honest, Fury, he's going to have to pay not only Bob Arum and Top Rank, but he's also going to have to pay Frank Warren as well. So he's having to pay 2 promoters here. Whereas Joshua, he only has to pay Eddie Hearn, right? As far as promoters are concerned. So if you can get rid of one of them, that's a bit more money in your pocket, isn't it? I mean, how much are promoters taking? Is it 10%, 20%? Think about it. So there is that possibility. But as far as the Wilder situation is concerned, for me, I feel like ain't nobody want to see that fight. We're sick to death of it. We're sick to death of Wilder. We're sick to death of his fan base and the excuses. And why do we need to see that fight again? Why? We don't need to. But he could just be saying it just to offset the fans a little bit. So when the Joshua fight gets announced, here we go. But of course, the Wilder fans, they're going to be clambering at the bit to say, see, we told you, it's all about arbitration. Wilder's in the right. Fury's has no choice but to fight. You see, they're going to try and cling on to every little strand of that rope that they possibly can. That is quite vastly slipping out of their fingers because they seem to be self-imploding, what I'm hearing. So they're going to try and get as many views and milk things out of it as they possibly can until they can't anymore. This is going to be one of those situations. And of course, there's going to be enough brain-dead people out there to believe the complete cobs wallop that these guys are going to be talking about, okay? Anyway, it is what it is. In time, we'll find out. Is he going to fight Joshua? Is he going to fight Wilder? Is he going to fight Carlos Takam, Ajit Kabiel, or whatever? In time, we'll find out. For me, I believe it's just Tyson Fury being Tyson Fury. Honestly, I do. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.